I've been extracting data out of Wikipedia to create this mess that's on my screen at the moment. I've been extracting what's called, well, I believe is called stables in professional wrestling. And stables are groups of wrestlers who wrestle together, or like a team up together. And there's all kind of cool storylines about stables. They pass each other weapons in the ring and whatnot. Um, and on the Wikipedia page for stables, on the side of the page, there's an entry that says like a little stats box, and in the box it says members of the stable and ex-members. So I've gone through them and I've mined them. I've took all the information from there and created this really weird map of wrestlers. So let's just zoom into some wrestlers. These dots represent wrestlers, and the line between the dots means that they were in a stable together. Someone on Twitter told me that it's not called a stable; it's called a faction. So don't get mad. I'm a wrestling noob. I don't know that much about wrestling, so it's a faction or a stable together. And so there's a lot of wrestlers in Wikipedia, and it's created this massive map. And what I've tried to do, if I zoom out a bit, there's two things I've tried to do. I've tried to colour code them based on the community that they're in. So in wrestling, I guess you'll find communities of wrestlers that tend to wrestle together in similar stables, and that might be because they're part of the same wrestling organisation. I guess you might find WWE wrestlers are in more stables together than TNA wrestlers, although I'm sure sometimes they cross over because they get different contracts, don't they, and whatnot. So I ran a community detection algorithm over them and colour coded them depending on what community it thinks they're in. So there's a bunch of pinks over here, and it thinks that these are related. So bear with me because I do not know wrestling that well. But Scott Hall, he's in this pink one along with Steve Williams and who else is in pink? Let's have a look. Scott Norton, the Giant Silver. So that's the first thing I've done. And the second thing I've done is I've taken measurements for every single wrestler called betweenness centrality measurements. And basically that's a measure of every time there's a shortest path that goes through a wrestler. So for example, down here we have CM Punk. So the path between Darren Young and Adam Birch, the shortest path is through CM Punk. And then CM Punk gets a point to this measure, basically. That's kind of a very simplified way of explaining it, but the number of shortest paths through a wrestler will mean that the wrestler's circle gets bigger. And so they're kind of like gatekeepers in between different communities. I'm not sure how well that measurement works on social networks, but what it does do is it tells us a few things about some of these wrestlers, like this guy, Teddy Hart, has the highest, when I checked, he had the highest betweenness centrality measure, and from what I believe, I don't know much about this chap, I did a quick Google search, and he's worked in a lot of different independents. He's also worked for WWE, and he's been in lots of teams, so it makes sense that lots of shortest paths goes through him. The second biggest measure was a guy called Sean, I think, and he is known as X-Pac. And I asked the people on Reddit, on Squared Circle, and they said, well, I can't find him now. He's a big dot somewhere. There he is, right in the middle. Sean has lots of different names. If you're a WWE fan, you might know excuse me, you might know of him as X-Pac. Or I think they said, I think I've read 1-2-3 Kid. But also, there were some other names that I didn't know for him that they said, he's had this name and he's wrestled in this organisation. So he has got the second biggest betweenness centrality, followed by Jeff Jarrett. And I don't know where Jeff Jarrett is, but there he is. I think he links together all the people up here who are WWE people and people down there who are TNA. So has he been in lots of teams in WWE and TNA, I think. So it's a bit big at the moment to really tell what's going on. I've put some images on Reddit, on the Squared Circle forum, to or subreddit to see what they think, and I was basically saying, look, this isn't very good, but can I have some help? You know, some ideas of what you think might work, and they say, "Oh, this is brilliant, actually." And so I think sometimes it's not really what it looks like that. Well, I don't, they didn't say it's brilliant. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but they said, it's pretty good because they can see the different links and they enjoyed having a look. So I think sometimes people just like to explore things they know. But hopefully they'll give me some ideas on how I can cut this down into something that's digestible for people. So yeah, I'll put the links in the description. Have a look, see if you recognise your favourite wrestlers and the teams that they were in. See, I don't know much about wrestling. I don't know why John Cena and CM Punk did wrestled together. I think it depends on Wikipedia, because if they were in a stable together, it'll come up, and if they're in a tag team that's on Wikipedia, they'll probably come up if there is a member of stat in that tag team page. But I don't think there is always. Tag teams don't always appear in it. I think it depends on how popular they are. So, see, I didn't know that Wade Barrett and CM Punk were. See, I'm a bit of a casual, so I only watch the odd pay-per-view. But I've never put these two together. I don't know why Wade Barrett and CM Punk. I've got a link within the tag teams together. Please leave a comment if you know. But I think just the fact that I don't know why that was all the way up there. Just the fact that it makes you ask these questions is interesting. Like, I have no idea who Psycho Clown and Monster Clown are. Well, that sounds like a fantastic team that I'm going to go and investigate. So I'm going to go and see what the people in Squared Circle say, see if they've got any ideas. I've got an idea for another map, which is Who Trained Who. I think that might be really interesting to find out who the influential trainers are. Or maybe there's like a... I'm thinking of, like the Heart Foundation. Not the Heart Foundation. The Heart Dungeon, where there's kind of a lot of very famous wrestlers, I think, teaching other famous wrestlers, and like the legacy continues. I'm wondering if you can spot one, like, similar families of wrestlers who have taught each other. I'm not a big, like I say, I don't really know that much about it, but I think, is it Takeshi and Roman Reigns and The Rock and people like that all come from families which are well known, train each other in their own family. That might be interesting to explore, so we'll go and have a look.